evolutionary leaps, total restructuring of your life. The pathway to 2025 is totally open. Hey guys, welcome to your November 2024 energy update and your preview for 2025. If you are new here, I want to welcome you and thank you for being a part of this growing community of light leaders, light workers, sensitives, and intuitives like yourself who are here on a mission to bring forward the new earth. Pop a comment below and let me welcome you to this growing community. And if you always come by every month for these videos, also pop in, say hi, and let me celebrate you. I'm so grateful that you are here. Now, these videos, as always, you're going to pick a number between 1 and 5 and feel into the numbers. You might even pick 2. These are the energies that are going to most resonate with you and that you'll mostly be working with over the course of the next few months. And this month, we're doing something fun. I'll also be sharing a card for each of the numbers. This is from the Activation of Light deck from Kyle Gray, one of my all-time favorite decks. This first energy is what I call a next level consciousness purge. This is where you're going to see a lot of duality over the course of the next month. And the card that goes with this is Higher Heart Activation. This card is about helping you come into that divine love. And let me show you this card. This next level consciousness purge is really about us as humans seeing what's been on the inside, underneath the hood, buried so deeply in the subconscious that we couldn't really look at it. It was too painful. And now it's all coming out. We're seeing it en masse. It's being infused into your YouTube feeds and your Instagram feeds. There's a lot of polarity happening here, especially with the American political election this month. The whole purpose of all these energies coming out is so that we can truly see where we're divided against ourselves. Because ultimately we are one being, although it feels like we're not, and it appears that we're not, but we're trying to show ourselves and get ourselves to the place in our consciousness where we can see, oh, that person over there that believes really different than me, also me. That person over here that believes exactly like me and kind of looks like me, also me. So we're trying to basically do what the body would do and not separate its cellular structure from itself. The body does this pretty easily because the body knows like, oh, that's my liver, but it's still part of my body. Whereas human beings, we don't do that very well. We really have lived in a lot of separation. So the whole goal of this is to do a massive consciousness purge so that you can see the parts of yourself that you've been holding in separation. You can see the parts of yourself that you've been holding in judgment. You can see the parts of humanity that are actually not working and are ready for a massive upgrade and a revamp. We'll talk about that in a minute. But once we see this, then we can start to deal with it. Once we see these things and feel these things, then we can start to transform it. In quantum physics, we understand that when you look at things differently, the things you look at change. And so part of this process is re-seeing things into the light. Now, what do I mean by that? How do we re-see something into the light? This is not about having toxic positivity. This is about acknowledging what is, acknowledging the hard, acknowledging what you don't want to have be there, and instead acknowledging it, feeling it, and doing something to shift it consciously. Okay, this is how we work with energies. We have to see it, we have to acknowledge it, we have to give it a seat at the table even. And then once we talk to that energy and give it a seat at the table, then we can start to work with it, to alchemize it. Once we start to give it a voice and give it a place to express what the heck's going on, then it can shift and move. But if we're either not seeing something or we're trying to pretend like it's fine and it's okay, that energy will not shift. It won't be until we really look as human beings as to what the heck is going on here on the planet, and we make a conscious choice to deal with it and move it into a different frequency. I also want to mention that this first energy is about the world as you know it is shifting. The world as you knew it in a few years is not going to be the same place. And in fact, it's important to remember that we don't have just one reality. We have 8 billion realities. Each of our realities are formed based upon our individual DNA that's projecting out, our subconscious mind that's projecting out, and our realities intermingle with other people's realities. You've heard me talk about this before in other videos, but I'll break it down a little bit here for you too. So our personal reality gets transmitted out, and then it also forms a collective reality. You can see this when you travel to different cultures. They will have different beliefs that are formed from an individual first and then form that collective reality. For example, when you drive in Europe, their collective reality is that they drive on the other side of the road than Americans do. So in America, we have a different collective reality. We have a different collective belief about our driving, our tools of measurement, and our forms of measurement. And it's all based on our belief set. And at the end of the day, it comes back to the individual. And enough individuals change the way they believe, then the outside collective reality shifts. A great example of this is Canada. They used to have the same tools of measurement that the United States did. They measured in feet and inches. And then back, I believe in the 1980s, there was a switch in the collective reality, and there was a belief set that came in that said, no, we're no longer going to believe like this, and now we're going to use this as the metric system as our tools and forms of measurement. And now when you go into Canada, they are on the metric system and they measure in kilometers and Celsius. So how this works though is that what we're being asked to do, especially with this card, is come into that place of higher heart activation, divine love activation, and working with these energies a little more potently and powerfully, so that enough of us down here are bringing through these frequencies of Christ consciousness, of new earth, of divine and physical form. And enough of that happens, and we start to shift the collective. We start to broadcast enough of that out through our DNA that we really can make a difference in the collective thought process and how we work in our everyday reality. Over the next few months, you're also going to see the polarity increase a little more. So here's the tip for you. As you see the polarity increase, as you see people start to battle with each other a little more, your goal and the question you want to ask yourself is, can I hold the frequency of divine love even in this place where people are behaving badly? Can I hold the frequency of divine source energy and love in physical form even when I don't agree with how this person's being or behaving or responding or even speaking? That's the big skill building class that we're going through right now, is can you hold the frequency of love as people are being in polarity? Can you hold the place of neutrality? Can you hold the place of divine source energy in physical form as people are really going through it? And I'll tell you myself personally, I have failed at this more times than I can think of, but we're really now in the place where I call this the live workshop of your life. You are in the live workshop of your life where you're really being challenged, pushed, tested to see how much frequency of love can you hold. And don't beat yourself up when you don't get this right. Don't beat yourself up when you respond or react or behave in a way that isn't in alignment with divine love. Remind yourself, okay, I'm practicing, I'm building up that muscle, and I'm loving myself and the people who are helping me as you move through this time. Remember that the people who are behaving badly are your divine teachers. They are helping you to strengthen yourself. They're like the most amazing trainer in the gym who's piling more weights on the bar, and you're trying to see if you can hold it and still push it up. Let's talk about energy number 2. This is the total restructuring of your life, and for some of you, even your identity. In fact, I believe that this is going to be happening en masse over the next few years. So ultimately, this energy is helping you to bring forward the energy of divine in physical form and helping us remember the truth of who we truly are. It is helping us to activate our divine DNA. It is helping us to bring more of our skills and talents online. The card you got is the Central Sun, and this card, let me show you. This card is all about abundance downloads. It's regenerating you and it's bringing you true success. Let me share the download with you about this card. It's so potent and so powerful. Many of you are in this place where you're literally regenerating yourself. You have taken the last 2 years specifically. I want you to think back to June or July of 2022, and you started to have this new vision for your life, but it wasn't quite formed yet. And over the course of the last 2 years, what happened is that your whole life melted down and you were completely turned into the goop stage. And even for many of you, your nervous systems melted down. You might have had real physical issues to deal with, especially in through your nervous system and through your organs. And the purpose of this is to totally reformat your body and purge out so much of the DNA. And now, 2 years later, you're coming into a stage where you have a clear vision of where you want to go. You actually know where you want to go. You've gotten the downloads. You're starting to mingle with the people. And yet this energy of regeneration and totally renewing yourself and rejiggering your life is about 25% installed. So I want you to think about this because it's like the last 2 years deleted all of the cellular DNA subconscious information that was the old you, and now you're installing the new frequency of you. It's a fabulous install. I'm so over the moon about this installation. When I look at your energy field, I can see that you're here to do huge things. For those of you who are resonating with this number, I see like you're making a movement. You're going for something really big. You're going to be leading the new earth through somehow, and it's going to be so powerful for you. It's going to blow your mind with all that you're being called forward into, all the connections you will make, all the perfect alignments that will happen, all the incredible meetups and speaking engagements and ways in which you are able to now finally pull through this coding that has been deeply installed within your system. So, congratulate yourself for doing this work. It's not been the easy journey. These last 2 years have probably felt for you like the biggest dark night of the soul that you've ever encountered. Even if you've encountered some really hard things in the past, this last 2 years, I know from personal experience as well, has been incredibly challenging and has challenged you on the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and the emotional levels, and at soul level as well. So now, though, the tides are turning. You're being upgraded with success codes. Success in the new way, though. Success looks a lot differently than the old success does. I'm talking about healthy, vital, vibrant body. I'm talking about instantaneous healing within your system. I'm talking about holding the codes for the divine love blueprint. Whether you're the divine feminine or masculine, it really doesn't matter. You're holding now the frequencies and the codes of that, and you're actually able to spot unhealthy relationships right off the bat. And whereas in the past, you would have totally selected those and trauma bonded and done all of the things, now you're nowhere near that. And now your heart is free and clear. Your heart is open. Your heart's magnetic. It's clear of the trauma and the trauma bonding patterns and the codependency patterns and the narcissistic patterns that you might have engaged in the past or selected for yourself in the past. And now you're finally holding these codes. And so your next person that you're going to meet, and by the way, I'm really seeing this for those of you who have chosen this number 2. I am seeing this for you in 2025. Oh, I just got really dizzy. I'm seeing this for you in 2025, and it's so powerful. There's such a high frequency coming in of love, divine union templates, because you've already divine unioned with yourself. You've done the work this last 2 years of divine union from within. And so now your business, your love relationships, your personal relationships, your environment are all going to be a beautiful reflection of this. I also want to mention, give yourself some time to fully install this new frequency of you. For many of you, I'm seeing towards the end of January 2025, you'll start to have 100% of that download. So what I'm saying is give yourself some time even to get the full download, because this is coming in a nice steady flow for you in a way that doesn't blow your gaskets, in a way that allows you to build momentum, in a way that allows you to have a little more spaciousness, because it's been a lot. You've been running and gunning, and now you can kind of take a breath, realize that you're totally supported. And even though there's going to be a lot going on over the next 3 months, you can take some more pauses, you can feel some more ease, there's more abundance flowing your way, there's more opportunities. I very much get the sense for you, by the time March, April, May rolls around, you will be fully in your new energy. You'll be fully out there doing your gifts in all new ways that feel totally supported, totally aligned, fully abundant. And I wanted to come back to those success codes, because success, like I mentioned, is going to look a lot different. It's a physical body transformation, but it's also an abundance transformation where you have overflow, where you have, savings in your bank account. Yes, we still are going to have physical money for a while. So it is finally safe for you to save and have money on hand, and plenty of it when you need it. So there's so much goodness in this download. I'm so over the moon excited for you. And if this is you, definitely let me know so I can cheer you on. And if you're hearing this and this isn't you, but you know that deep in your soul you want it to be, you can still catch this wave. And what's required to catch this wave is to go within and heal those places of polarity that we just talked about, those places of judgment where you're holding others in a sense of separation. This one's good, that one's bad, I'm doing this and I'm amazing, or I'm doing this and I'm not good enough. All of that stuff has to be cleaned and cleared from your energy system, because it acts like weights that hold you down. And you guys know this, I always make the surfing analogies. Imagine if you had all the weight of judgment and blame and shame and guilt and not good enough, and you're trying to paddle for this huge wave that you want to catch. It's going to be really difficult to get there. So we have to let go of that baggage of those energies that are really heavy and dense, that do not serve you. And technically, you cannot drag them along into the new. The energy right now on the planet is so strongly holding the new earth coding on these high crystalline frequencies of light that now this goodness is actually being supported. And if you're tuning into this frequency daily, you're you are just going to be supported. You can't stop yourself, but it does require you to let go of some of these older energies. So do that healing work. We have our Divine Light Energy Healers Academy. By the way, we're on wait list, but we teach you a process in the academy where you can really let go of judgment, blame, shame, victimhood, disempowerment, all of those lower frequencies from your system, and you can help your clients take this from their systems so that you can install new coding. Because let me tell you, the new frequencies are here for you to recode yourself with. But just like a computer, you've got to take the old software out. You've got to take the old virus mind programs out where we judge one another, where we hold each other in victim or victor, where we are not seeing one another as divine source energy in physical form. So if you just heard number 2 and you're like, oh my gosh, I want that for me, you still have time to catch this wave. This is a massive wave. It's starting now and it's moving on in to 2025 and beyond. A question you can ask yourself here is, am I tuning in daily to the highest frequencies of light? Am I tuning my attention to that which I want to create? That is the new me. One of the exercises I always give my private retreat clients and my private clients is to really script out what the new you looks like in the new frequency, every single detail, and tune into it daily until it gels in your reality. Remember, you are a divine creator here in physical form, and you literally get to create anything that you want. The problem is that most of us got born into these bodies where we went on autopilot and we started getting into the collective creation, which you can see how that's going. So it's a great time to really amp up the dial on your divine creatorhood. The third energy is evolutionary leaps, and this goes hand in hand with energy number 2, and it's so delicious. And the card that goes with this is the Akashic Stargate. This is about being aligned with your purpose. There's no wrong path here for you to take, but you are totally in alignment with your purpose. And so what I love the most about this energy of like this massive evolutionary leap forward, and I'm talking, it's almost going to feel like kind of a shock, but in a great way to the system, where maybe, you were doing a little side hustle business and weren't really sure how to make things take off and get going, and all of a sudden you meet this incredible business partner, and your business partner comes in and you guys have this incredible synergy, and they actually contribute in the places where you were weak, and you contribute to the places where they were weak, and you create this huge movement that changes the planet. That's the kind of evolutionary leap I'm talking about. Maybe you were struggling a little bit in your business, and then all of a sudden you get this speaking engagement invite, and then all of a sudden you're just in your message, you're on purpose, you're changing lives, and it's this huge leap forward. I can't stress enough how big this energy is, and this is coming for those of you who have been putting in the work. You have been slogging it out, as they say, and just kind of putting one foot in front of the other for the last year and a half, 2 years, maybe even 4 years. You've just been putting one foot in front of the other with a lot of trust and faith, and maybe not much has happened for you. And now, guess what? The energy tides are turning, and you're going to have this incredible evolutionary leap forward. So just enjoy it. Remind yourself that you've worked really hard for this. It's going to be an incredible journey for you, and it'll come with different issues to deal with. You'll have issues to deal with, like, how can I still take care of my body really well and get my exercise while I'm in this much of my purpose work. You'll have issues to deal with, like, how do I spread my message even further? How do I impact more people? Oh my gosh, as I'm impacting more people, what do I do with this extra money that's coming through? What places am I going to want to channel and funnel that money into that are supportive of bringing in the new earth? And how can I work and partner with companies that are on my frequency bandwidth and share more of their gifts in the world? You're going to be involving yourself in more and more partnerships and really aligning with things. And so the question to ask yourself is the frequency a resonant match? Is this person, place, company, speaking gig, business partner a frequency match for me? And how you do that is you feel it in your body, and you will feel it. If you feel your energy dip at all, then you know it's not a frequency match for you. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean when you're feeling that their energy is lower than yours. And that's really important to remember, because on this path of awakening, we can tend to get into that spiritual ego. So we want to really avoid that and just go, oh, this isn't a resonance match. No one's above or below one another. It's just not a resonant match. And that's okay. And you still might talk to the person, you still might have lunch with the person, but maybe don't make them your business partner. Maybe don't make them, your new best friend. Just notice the frequency match or not, and then move from there. As we go forward into 2025, frequency first, something I've been talking about for a long time, is going to be more and more in the collective. So I was watching a YouTube video on their awakening path, and they were talking about frequency, and they were talking about how commonplace the word vibration is today. And so one of the things is this is filtering into the collective consciousness. So good job on holding that place. It's now filtering out more and more than ever. And the collective consciousness is now starting to have an understanding of, oh, this isn't a frequency match. So you're going to start to see this in really interesting ways in 2025. I'm starting to not do as much predictive content, but I will say that in 2025, you'll notice where the frequency conversation is filtering out into the collective. You'll notice it coming in to places where you might have never before thought that frequency could be a conversation. You'll see it even come into our food system and our health system. So be on the lookout for these amplified frequency first conversations. Let's talk about energy number 4. And this is all about the rising tide of change, AI, and I'm going to tie this back into evolutionary leaps. This is a really powerful energy, and it's here to work with us for many years, in fact. And with this frequency and this energy, I'm going to also bring in the galactic level here, because this is really important, the Akashic level of the earth as well. We are working a concurrent timeline, a concurrent lifetime as a planet. You might call this a past life as the planet, where we were in Lemurian and Atlantean times. However, it's actually being recreated in actually a little bit of a lower aspect here on Earth now. And what's happening is we are being invited into that change. We are being invited to really work with this card. So here's the card I picked for this. Memories of Atlantis. This is all about spiritual acceleration, progress, and technology. So I was walking through Target the other day, and this caught my eye. Let me show it to you. It's from Popular Science, and it's a magazine all about the rise of the humanoid. What is the humanoid? It is the opposite of divine in physical form, in the sense that it is not necessarily a sentient being. However, there's some talk and experiments of modifying our physical DNA structure with robotics, and that's happening right now. So as a spiritual being, the important thing is that we look at this and we say, okay, wait a second, let me see this. Let me understand it. Let me understand what's happening. Now, my personal perspective on this is to stay out of judgment and stay in the zone of bringing through the highest possible timelines. How do we do that? I'm going to talk about that in a second. But the truth is that this stuff is happening. And there's a huge play for this on the planet right now. And as we move into 2025 and 2026, this energy, this frequency, these humanoid beings are going to be infused into our society, and it looks to be like a pretty rapid pace. Now, here's what's really important to remember, that you, if you're watching this right now, you hold within you codes of divine and physical form, and you get to teach technology how to treat you, even in the interactions that you're having with your phone and your computer. And if you're using AI in your business, for example, I can tell a lot about a person by their search on YouTube or their search on Instagram, because it's literally mirroring back to you what you're talking about. Even when you're not searching online, you'll see what your phone is going to show you is what you're speaking about. So you can get a really clear sense of your consciousness if you just look at your YouTube feed. And you can go, oh, wow, this is what I'm speaking about and talking about and feeling about, because what's happening in technology is it's literally giving you all the things you're talking about. And by the way, it's listening to your friends talk about it too. And your handset's designed to pick up all that, feed it back into Google, feed it back into YouTube, and bring you exactly what you are talking about. I actually used to work for cell phone companies when they were developing this technology for use now, because at the time it was illegal to use it. But after 9/11, it was no longer illegal because of the laws that were passed. And so guess what? It's a great opportunity to really look at where your consciousness is at, look at what you're focused on, and to treat technology as you would treat another being, and infuse your consciousness into everything. And for me, this is the key point. If you hear nothing else in this video, this for me is everything, because how you treat one thing is how we treat everything. And so this AI technology is showing us how we really are in the world. And I'd love to share an example with this. I was talking to a colleague of mine the other day, and they were telling me how they never used AI for anything because they feel it's so cold and they don't really like the outputs, and it feels really non-human to them. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I actually use AI a lot in my business, and I have a total opposite experience. And the colleague looked at me and said, what? and it's because when I'm using the AI tools, I treat it differently. I actually speak to it like it's a divine conscious being, and we're programming everything in our world all the time, whether you like it or not. I'm going to say that again. You are programming everything in your world, in the simulation, in your reality, whether you like it or not. And so we can speak frequency into these tools. We can speak frequency into the world. We can speak frequency. We already know this. We can speak frequency into water and take a picture of it, and the molecules change. For those of you who run a lot of love in your system, you already know this. You'll see hearts everywhere. You'll see hearts in the clouds. You'll get a cappuccino or a matcha latte, and there'll be a big heart in your cup. And not because the barista made it for you, because you took a sip and there's a heart right there. So we are learning to speak frequency. We are learning to infuse it into everything. And part of this revolutionary change is us working at the level of the Akash and the soul of this planet to undo some of the old timelines, to undo some of the old gnarliness, and to really remember that yes, we can, and in fact, we are here to make that shift, to make the difference. And how do we do that? We do it with our consciousness. We do it with non-judgment. We do it by going into neutrality. We go into this by seeing the best in things and acknowledging when it's not good. So we have to work both sides of the coin. You are meant to hold it all. You are meant to hold the light and the dark and not be in separation. That whole yin yang symbol that you've seen, that's the secret key to happiness, where the white meets the dark, and there's a little dark circle inside the white, and there's a little white circle inside the dark. That's the secret key, is to hold it all. And when you're in, let's say, joy, you're coming into this understanding that you might still have a little grief when you're in joy, and that is okay. You don't have to be one emotion. And sometimes when you're in grief, you can have joy. And this is the secret to advancing your consciousness. This is the secret to hopping out of this 3D Earth matrix and being able to move on with your consciousness to other more interesting planes of existence. We simply have to learn through the school of our life that we can hold it all, that we do not have to polarize, and that when we're in polarity, that's when we have to catch ourselves and stop and go, wait a second. Why am I in polarity? What's causing me to be so polarized here? And how can I shift into holding all of this with love? So let's talk about a few games you can play to hold the highest timelines. These are games that I play with my clients. The first game is called the What If Up game. So a lot of people got trained in the What If Down game. What if this happens and this horrible thing and that horrible thing and this president gets elected or that leader does this. That's the what if down game, and it takes the energy right on down. So practice with your friends and your family and your clients and your students playing the what if up game instead. Well, what if this amazing thing happens? What if I decide to change my life and have a different experience? List all the things that are what if upping instead of what if downing. This will change the frequency in the room, in the conversation, and it's extraordinary. Now, there's another game that you can play, and this is called Highest Possible Timelines, Highest Possible Outcomes. And so I love to play this game when you have that friend that's just talking about the worst of the worst and all the bad things that are happening. And what you're helping them to do is see other possibilities. So literally, this is what I do. I clap my hands together. Let's play a game. Let's play the highest possible timelines, highest possible outcomes game. And they'll sometimes look at you like, what is that? And then you say, this is where you tell me, if you had a magic wand where you could make anything happen at all, what is it that you would like to see in the world? Or maybe what we would like to see in this space. I was literally walking down the streets of Hawaii the other day with a friend, and you could tell she really wasn't happy. She was in a lot of judgment about the environment and the state of things, and it was like every step of the way, judge, judge, judge. And it was really lowering her frequency, and I could tell. So I clapped my hands. I said, let's play highest possible timelines, highest possible outcomes. I explained the game, and I said, what would you love to see in this mall instead? What would you love to see in these stores instead? And oh my gosh, first, her energy totally shifted, and she got excited, and she started talking about all these things that she would love to see. You already know this, but our words and our frequency start to bring things forward. You are literally imprinting your consciousness on the field, and then the field can respond. So when you find yourself in polarity, when you find yourself in judgment, or maybe at Thanksgiving or Christmas or the holidays, you find your family in that place, do this game. hey guys, let's play a game. You're enrolling people into the game and see where they go. Now, one thing about when you play these games, you will see the level of consciousness the people are at. You'll see how high they're capable of going, how much vision they're able to bring in. And your goal is not to judge them. Your goal is just to hold them in love and help them feel that resonant space where change and transformation can be brought forward. Now, bringing this back around to some of the, shall we say, more unsavory aspects of what's bound to happen in 2025 and 2026, I think you're going to see a pretty massive injection of the humanoid into the population. And so for you, this is ultimately about remaining centered and balanced. For many of you, you've already changed locations on the planet where you're not going to run into this as much, where you can bring down more of that new earth frequency. Remember that new earth frequency, that Christ consciousness, that solar energy that's helping to uplift the planet has to come down as and through you. It's not like one day you're just going to wake up in Cincinnati and it's going to be new earth there. Or it's not like one day you're just going to get on a plane and fly to Hawaii and it's going to be new earth there. It does not work like that. The new earth gets birthed as and through your consciousness. We don't have one reality. We have 8 billion different realities that overlap on top of each other. So what's required at this time is to really amp up the game on your own vibration, your frequency, what you're bringing through, what you're seeing for the planet, and that's going to impact the whole. A great example of this, just to remind you that you can do it, is, have you ever had that experience where maybe your kids are out of school and it's not great, and then a new principal comes in and all of a sudden they change the culture and they change what happens in the day, and they really infuse that school with a new methodology and an ideology, and it's very kid focused, and it just really upshifts. That's an example of one person's consciousness changing the environment. Maybe another example is that there's a street that's kind of been run down and one person moves in and they start to upgrade their home and they start to beautify it in some way. And then all of a sudden that energy starts to spread, and pretty soon before you know it, everybody on the street is beautifying and making pretty and so on. So there's a lot of different examples and analogies I could make about this, but one person, aka you, has the ability to have so much frequency in your field of new earth energy, of these beautiful light codes flowing through you, that you can shift the outcomes that certain forces on the planet are trying to force through right now. Now, here's another really cool thing. Unlike 2015, 2017, 2019, and even in 2022, right now, the new frequencies are actually really being supported. So if you're living into your new frequency, it's being super supported. The abundance is flowing your way. And the old frequencies are really starting to have struggles. You'll see all of this data and news coming out about our food supply and the chemicals in it and the pharmaceutical industries. That is all headed for a big crumple. And so it's, again, I'm seeing it as about 25% is coming all the way through, but this frequency that's been building is just going to keep rising and rising and rising and rising, and supporting you and supporting that new earth frequency. It is something that is destined to happen. You are here to bring it through. So if you are in your life and you're like, gosh, I'm not feeling it yet, well, it's just your opportunity to align more within yourself, do more alignment frequencies as and through you, and really ask yourself that question every day. What can I do to be of service to this new earth energy? What can I do today to be of service to divine love? what can I do today to be in service of this pathway of light and bringing forward these new frequencies? If you ask yourself this question every day, you're going to be bombarded with ways that you can show up in your gifts, be in your service, and what's going to happen is it'll be reflected back to you, your beautiful frequency and energy in the form of massive support. Let's talk about this last energy, harnessing harmony. So this energy is really interesting, and I've talked about this already, but many of you are being given opportunities to balance polarity within yourself. So I'm calling this harnessing harmony, but what this is requiring you to do is go in and bring forward really high frequency downloads and energies. The card that you got for this is the crystal skull of wisdom. Clarity, divine healing, and high vibrational energy. So how do we learn to bring forward high vibrational energy into a situation? Well, guess what? If you're already in a high vibrational situation, you're not going to be challenged to amp up the dial. You're going to just be in your high vibration. However, many of us have been in the last couple months given opportunities to have the energy be lower and bring through very consciously high vibrational energy, so that it acts as an alchemist, so that it helps not only you stay strong, but it helps to shift the frequency. So many of you have gotten these situations where you're really having to work with the polarity. Some of you may even have had to tussle with some spiritual energies that may not have been none too friendly. And all of it is so that you can see what's been riding in the collective, and so that you can see that, yes, nothing trumps your consciousness. Nothing trumps your consciousness. So if something's been bothering you, if you've been dealing with an energy that hasn't been friendly, remember that you are here to amplify and increase the light. Some things that you can do for yourself are to bring in some healing tools. I personally love using crystals to help support you on that pathway. I also love using products like my friends at Lotus Way have some great products that they supply, like Joy Juice is one of them. I've been slathering myself in Joy Juice. Not to say that I don't have those hard emotions still, but what happens is that we put an energy in our frequency, and how flower essences and essential oils work is they go within our DNA and our cellular structure, and they dissolve that which isn't in alignment with this, and they magnify that which is. So it helps you deal with and balance the energies a little more easily. And make no mistake, I mean, we are in a time where some people are calling it a war, some people are calling it a fight, a battle. I don't actually see it that way. I see it as we are trying to learn how to stop battling. We are trying to learn how to stop fighting. And how we do that is we alchemize that within ourselves. And how we do that is we alchemize it and re-see it into love. We understand that we can't reject the hard stuff, that we have to take it in and offer it healing. We have to take it and go, I get it. You're not in a great place, but I love you anyways. And I'm going to put you into the love and just hold you in love and allow that to transform itself if it can. So this is the work, and these are the practices. It's not been easy. It's been somewhat challenging for many of you. Some people might even call it, having dark forces But that is the time that we're in. We're here to really see if we can hold that frequency of love and offer and invite those things that are not in resonance with love back into the love. You're going to be working with these energies over the next few months. I see it sort of intensifying through November, especially given the election results and the astrology of America. I also want to make mention that there's so much energy that's held in America, and it's been an energetic that has been sort of overlooked, and it's all coming out. And that energy that was overlooked with America is that our country, like it or not, was founded by annihilating an indigenous population and bringing in slaves and creating something. That is the foundation of America. And that energetic has just been unconsciously underneath of it all. And now it's coming to the forward, and we're going to have ample opportunities to rebuild something different from a different energetic, because that we've seen does not work. We're trying to show ourselves ways to get back in touch with understanding that Mama Earth is a sentient being. We're trying to get back in touch with understanding that we're stewards of land, not owners of land, that we're here to leave things better than we found them, that we're here to help to shift the energy and be harmonious. I personally see us all coming into the understandings that our homes are to be built in harmonious ways that work with the land and are not in these, square boxy shapes that are more in harmony and maybe have more wiggly lines, and also are a true sanctuary where you walk into a home and you feel uplifted and your spirit soars, and every single detail in the home has been blessed and uplifted, and we're consciously creating this frequency of blessings and light into all our environment. So we're in the process over the next few years of crumbling down the things that were built, I call it on ticky-tacky, that unsolid ground, that paper mache, not solid feeling. They were not built on solid structures. They were built on false premises. And so we're learning that that does not lead to anything positive for us as human beings. We're now seeing, and I'll put some links below of some videos that I think are really important for you to check out, of where we're learning that our food is just absolutely been taken to a place that is criminal even, and that our lifestyles have been taken to a place that keeps people in some sense in a certain amount of unconscious slavery. And so we're here in the process of breaking that. We're here in the process of consciously shifting the environment. How do you shift something physical? You have to consciously rearrange it. You take the house that you didn't like and you flatten it and you rebuild something anew. And that's the time that we are in. We are in the time of consciously rebuilding, and it's a slower process than some of us thought. Some of us thought that we were going to be in that process in 2020 and it was just going to be like really fast, and it was slowed down on purpose so that more and more and more people could awaken to their divine potential of being divine in physical form. So I'm going to leave it there with the tip and takeaway of reminding you that you are here on this beautiful mission of light. You're here to bring forward new frequencies and codes. You are here to breathe new life into our earth plane, and everything that you do can be a blessing. Yes, it's okay to feel those hard feelings. Absolutely feel them. It's okay to look at the hard stuff. I would say that it's really super important for light workers to look at the hard stuff so that we can know what's going on and make other shifts, to bring it into the energy system and say, I see you, I love you, and now I'm going to help you transform into something that actually is positive for human beings. Okay, my friends, I love you so, so much. I hope you have a beautiful November. Be sure to let me know what number resonated most with you. Be sure to let me know what number that you most want to align with. If you got a number that you're like, I kind of don't love that one, let me know what number you want to most align with. Remember that we have a massive ascension wave. It's happening now. And with every wave, a surfer always has 3 decisions that they can make. Do I want to paddle and get out there and ride the wave? Do I want to sit and get crushed by the wave? Or do I want to go back on the shore? And I sense about you that you want to paddle and ride that wave, take out your pro surfboard and really help humanity as we move into this new earth energy that really is coming online. I think you'll see very tangible, real bits of this coming into your world now, more and more as we move into January, even more so as we come into March and April and May. Every day asking yourself, what energy am I attuning to? Am I working with this high frequencies of light? How am I attuning to my highest, most light-filled, most joyful, most abundant, most divine lifetime? The more you tune to that, the more your reality will shift. Okay, you guys, I love you so much. Pop me your messages below because I live for your responses. So I will see you next time. Until then, have a beautiful holiday and bye for now.